Good morning. Today I want to spend a little bit of time talking about Parlay, which is Facebook's uh, framework for conversational artificial intelligence. So let's jump over to the desktop here and get going. Uh, so let's pull up the tutorial here. And actually, there's a quick start, which is a good way to get going with this. And so you want to clone the repository here. By the way, this is https://parlay, parl.ai/docs/tutorial_quick.html. So this talks about how to install it, and it's a pretty easy installation. I believe this has to be done with Python 3.7. I can check that quickly for you here. Uh, yeah, I use 3.7.9. I would just, when you do the conda create minus name, I just use Parlay. I did a Python equals 3.7, and then you can run this setup script, and it you also have to install PyTorch. This setup script, I guess, does not install PyTorch. So you just follow the instructions that are here for that. And so these commands they all start the same. They all start with the parlay command. And I always run these from the same location. So if you look up here, it wants you to clone it into the Parlay, into your home directory, Parlay subdirectory. So that's what I have here. I'm in the, I'll just go back one here. I'm in the Parlay directory. And so we can start with this first command here. Just copy this and paste it here. And what this is doing is it's using the parlay command to do a whole bunch of other things. So this command saves you a lot of work. And in this case, the switch is using is this display under data, which is actually a program, right? So it's going to Parlay is going to run this display data program. And -t, I believe, means teacher. And so we're going to look at the data for teaching this Babi teacher. And we're going to do this task 10K, and I guess one of them. I'm not exactly sure about some of the syntax of this, but what we're doing here is we're looking at this task 10K and we're printing this out. And so this has a bunch of text, and then it has a question, and then it has the label for it here. So if I look here, I think if I look in data, and then within here, the Babi, we have tasks. So if I cd into the tasks, there's that EN10K, English 10K. So if I CD into EN-10K, and within here, I've got all of these different text files. So if I just cat out one of these guys, QA10, I'll just pick any one of these here. So, all of these things are, this is all training data. So, you're feeding in this Julia's in either the park or the school. Bill went back to the office. Is Bill in the office? And the answer is yes. So this is the label, and these are all tab separated. They're either on a separate line or they're tab separated. So I'll just go back to let's see now. Get me there. No, I gotta go there. All right, so I'm back where I started, and so you can also use this to train a model, and I'm not going to do this now because, well, actually this one is fairly quick, and I'm not going to put this no CUDA thing on it so that it will go a little faster, and it should run. Sometimes you have to run the commands exactly as they are, otherwise it won't load the data that you need. And we can, while this is going on here, we can do an NV top, and we can actually see what's going on. You'll see this is, grabbing all of this from the GPU. Actually, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to show you something here. I'm going to export CUDA visible devices equals 2. And the reason I'm doing that is because if I run NVIDIA SMI here, you'll see that I've got 3 graphics cards here, and I want to run it on this one here. So that's what that export command does. It says to use the graphics card 2. They start 0, 1, and then 2. And so now, if I run that command again, here we go. We should see this. Yeah, here it goes. It's starting to use this graphics card, GPU 2. And this shouldn't take very long to train. It's we just told it to train a very small amount. This says we have 235 seconds left, so that is about 4 minutes. And we can go back here and we can look at other things. Here's to display predictions for the model on Babby task number 1. So this is that task 10K we looked at, task number 1 of that. And here, -MF, that's saying use this model file, /temp/BabbyMNN. I'm not really sure what this -ecans is. I haven't got that far in the tutorial yet, so I'm really showing you some of the very basic things. And then here's the interactive script. There's an interactive script. So Parlay is going to run that. It's going to use this model file, and I guess this vocabulary file. So let's take a look at that. Let's go back into the term. Let's see how far along we are. We still have 149 seconds, which is a little over 2 minutes. Uh, I could just stop this now. This is, yeah, I'm just going to interrupt it so I can run this next thing here. Not this one. That's not what I want. That's the one we just stopped. I want to run this interactive script here. Oops. What's that telling me here? It doesn't seem to be able to find this. Oh, it doesn't like that, those arguments, ecans vocab. Let's get rid of those. It's not finding the model file. So this is a problem that I've seen over and over again happen. And let's just find a different model. Let's find the same interactive command here, but with a different model. Let's see. All right, so let's run this on this wizard of Wikipedia. This one here. Because I know this one works. So right now it's loading the model, and you'll see there's nothing going on over here in with the GPUs at the moment. And actually, I can quit out of here, and I can go into maybe glances, and we'll see that the CPU is chugging along here. All right, and now it has stopped, and now we can start this up, and we just say hello. And it's just giving us information here on the main route from northern India for some reason. We can ask it a question. Who was Albert Einstein? And right here, the Einstein family is the family of the renowned physicist Albert Einstein, blah, blah, blah. So this particular model gives back some fairly helpful responses, and it uses almost no resources. Now to get out of this, we can type exit like this. And you can play around with these models and see what kind of responses you can get from them. And there are a lot of them. You can take a look at the model zoo, and let's move over here to this introduction. And this talks about the basic method for passing information around. So Parlay is written as a bunch of programs, and so the programs can interact with one another using observations and actions. And so what happens is an agent will observe something and then act. and that act will become the observation for another agent, which will then act, and back and forth that way. So it's a little, I found this a little confusing until I started actually doing some of it, and then it started to make sense. So if you read this and you don't understand it, I think that's probably normal. So here's is training equals labels in observation. So this observation is going to be a oh, what's the word for this? It's going to be an object, right? So it's all done with object-oriented programming. So it's an object, which means it's going to have properties, and one of the properties is going to be is training, and if it has labels in it, then it knows that it's training on a supervised task. Otherwise, it'll be training on an unsupervised task. So here's a teacher. It's a special type of agent. They implement the act and observe functions as all agents do. The main teacher, I guess, is that Babby thing, the Babby task teacher. And so the Babby task teacher is going to use a file like this, where it has some text and then has a label and label candidates, and then the episode is done, and so on. So the teacher will give this all of this information here, and then the student will guess hallway. Right? And if the hallway is correct, that's fine. If it's not, then it's going to generate an error, and it will update the weights. So there's also this concept of a world, and within a world you have agents. So there's the dialogue partner world. That's one task teacher agent and one student agent. So there's also a multi-agent dialogue world, which is given. And I'm not really sure how to use these yet, but there's a worlds tutorial. If you want to learn about those, you can skip to that, or you can continue on along with this tutorial until you get there. Eventually you will get there. So here's an example of there's a script directory, and then there's the display data.py script. So let's take a quick look at that. So if you cd into Parlai with lowercase like that, and then you do an LL, you're going to see the scripts directory. And if you go in there, you've got all these scripts here, and one of them is the display data script. So the other thing that we looked at earlier was this interactive.py. So there's also the train model, right? All these scripts, these are the things that Parlai is calling. So let's take a look at display data.py. And you'll see that we do a bunch of imports, and then we parse out arguments, and then we can, I guess, is there a run loop in this? Yeah. The dot main. So it takes the whatever you've put in as the option. So that would be like that Babby task would be the option here. And it's just going to go in and open up that file and pull everything out from the file based on the format of it and any labels that are given there. And it's going to put them into the objects in their various properties, and then it's just going to print them out. So this is a pretty simple script, and they give a simplified version of this here. So if you want to write your own display data file, this is a simplified version of it, and it's much easier to understand than that larger file. But it, it just gives you an idea of what's going on. And so this is how you work with the actual Python rather than the pipeline itself. So the Parlai command is a pipeline for all of these other things. But these programs here that are being run from the pipeline, you can write programs just like these, and you don't have to run them from the pipeline either. All right, so here's an example of training. Right, so we're going to use the train model script. We're going to tell it to train on this data file, the task file, and this, I guess, tells you how much of that to train on. And then the model type is going to be sequence to sequence, and the model file is going to be put here, and the batch size is this, and I'm not sure what vtim is. I guess maybe the validation or vcut. I'm not sure about these. I haven't gotten to those yet. So here's how to do an LSTM model. And this is using, I guess this is using a pre-trained model because it's already in the zoo, the model zoo. Here's how to train a model using a human agent. So instead of a file, well, it's using a file here also, but I guess it's getting the labels from a person sitting at a keyboard rather than from a label within the file. Let's take a look at this and see if it runs. And minus DT, is that desktop? I don't know. But we can try. All these things are so easy to try. You just paste them in here and see what happens. So we can say Daniel journey to the bedroom. Where is he? He's in the bedroom. And so on. And this will go on forever. But if you're doing something with Mechanical Turk, for example, and this is on a pre-trained model, so it's getting these right. But if it was not a pre-trained model, then it would get a lot of these wrong. I'm not exactly sure how and why to use this human agent, but as I learn more and more about this, I'm sure that I'll discover why. So here's some flags here, the model and the model file. And so minus T is task. I thought it was teacher, but it's not, it's task. And then of course we saw this, you can talk to the model. I think, did we run this one before? Oh, we can run this one here. This is a conversational model, and I find these conversational models to be a little bit dumb. But let's kick it off and see how it goes. Now, I've run a lot of these models, so what is this telling me? I don't have this. I don't know why I'm having trouble with this one. I could have sworn I had this one working before. It's probably a similar name. Uh, and I don't understand why some of these work and then others don't work. Maybe some of these models are old and they don't support them anymore. I'm not sure exactly. But we can take a look at the models that are available. Huh. Oh, I know what's wrong. I know why I'm having a problem here. Look at where I am. I'm in Parlay scripts. That's no good. I have to be in Parlay to get these things to work. So I think if I run this now, it will be able to find all the files it needs. So you have to start here because these paths are relative paths. So just say hello here. All right, so you can just chat with these things, and they do sound fairly human, but you can ask them questions like, who was Albert Einstein? She was the author of Pride and Prejudice. All right, so no, it's not doing very well with that. As far as I can tell, the Wizard of Wikipedia is the only one of these chatbots that comes close to being helpful. The others are kind of toys, but if you're doing research on how to build a meaningful chatbot, you've got to know about these things and explore them. Uh, so when you're done with this, just type exit, and there it goes. And then let's see. And so there is a model zoo. And let's take a look at what models we have here. So once again, we CD into Parlay. And then I think right into the zoo from here. And then these are the models that are in there. So for example, if you wanted to run a model based on BERT, I guess that is, let's see if we can get this to work. What if we just put BERT in here, or do we need something more? All right, so it's downloading whatever it needs in order to run BERT. And it's going to put it in the right directories, and then it will be available. Let's see, let's try this again. Let's try eval. All right, so I'm just not using the right syntax there. but I'll get there. So, as you can see, that I don't have a very good understanding of this. Uh, I'm just going through this tutorial and trying to figure out things as I go along. So here, for example, we're going to try adding some data. So if I do a vim of /temp/data, and then I copy this stuff in here, and this is going to fail. This is not going to work. And then I run this. And all we're trying to do here is display the data. But you can see here that it's complaining because it's saying that label is missing. And the reason it can't find it is that these things have to be tab separated. So if I insert a tab here, what happens is I just end up with more spaces again. And this is kind of a pain. So what we have to do is, so vim convert spaces to tab. And the problem is Vim does not want to use tabs. And so what you have to do is you have to set this no expand tab. And so you do a colon. We don't need a double colon. We just need a single colon there. And now if I just delete this and then I insert a tab, notice how the cursor now will fly back and forth. And let's do this again down here. Let's insert a tab. And let's get rid of that space here. All right, so let's try this again. There we go. So we're just displaying the data. We're not doing anything fancy here, but I thought you should see this set no expand tab. And actually, I'm going to make a note of this in my book so that I won't have to look this up again. I just know that I'm not going to remember the exact syntax of this till I do it a few times. And probably there is a way to do this from my .vimrc file so that I don't have to come in here and do this over and over again. And if you've got a large file where you have to do this, you can do this %retab bang, and it will retabulate the whole file for you. So that's kind of cool also. All right, so I think this is probably getting to be a fairly long video, but this will give you a nice start, I think. And I thank you for watching.